before about the Nashville area and how important it is to get down here and touch into this fan base, right?
Absolutely. If we're going to grow our fan base and have sellout crowds and just expand our HAF membership and all those things, we're going to have to do it outside of Bowling Green. We're going to have to do it in places where we have a large alumni following. And Nashville is, to me, a very untapped market for us. We've got a tremendous group of alumni here, and we just have to do a better job of engaging them and really come to Nashville as much as we can. And certainly tonight's event is a great opportunity. Because it's informal. It's a chance for people to mingle with our coaches both before the program and after the program, much more so than you ever could on a game day or anything like that. But we love coming to Nashville. We play games here as often as we can. Obviously, we've got the UK game August 31st. Played Louisville here in basketball last year, and it's something we need to continue to do.
What was that in the past? You think that you guys had reached into Nashville?
Which certainly wasn't intended. I think, and this is not an indictment of any individual or group of people at all, but I think as an athletic department, we kind of fell into a rut of thinking that because we have a website, that if we emailed people and we had a billboard, we've kind of done all we need to do. And I don't think that works anymore. I think you have to actually get out in the community and engage people. Sometimes it's large groups, sometimes it's small groups. Sometimes it's just getting together with 8 or 10 people. But I think just a visible presence, in addition to all the other things you have to do, is really the way to go moving forward.
Have there been other smaller things you've done in Nashville? Like you were saying, those smaller things?
Well, there'll be more moving forward. There hasn't been, this year per se. But when you think about it, if you got 7,000 alumni here, I don't think you can come here too much. There's no way that you could ever come to a place too much that has that many alumni. But they have to feel like you care also.
What's the summer been like for you? What have you been working on? Obviously, Conference USA next year. You guys working a lot on that? Things moving forward?
Well, fortunately, we finished this year with a lot of positive momentum, a lot of winning momentum, and that's helped carrying into the summer because it's led to a lot of excitement. There's a lot of anticipation about next year. A lot of what you do in the summer is just prepare for the coming year, and these tour stops are a big part of our summer. This is the 3rd stop, and we'll actually have 5 in a 9-day period that we'll do all together. We've got a couple big things at Bowling Green that we're doing with fans, both July 17th and 18th. The 18th at Greenwood Mall, we're debuting our uniforms. We actually have 3 uniforms this year, 3 combinations, a white, a red, and a black. You have to come out to the Greenwood Mall to see anything more specific than that, but we want to have those things. We want to have a lot of things like that leading up to the year, and so you spend your summer both planning and executing those.
Have you seen a change in attitude in the fan base or more excitement since you hired Petrino?
I think there's a lot of excitement since we hired Coach Petrino, a whole lot. The feedback that I've received has been very, very positive. And I think our fans realize that it's unique that we have somebody like him leading our program at this stage of his career. What's unusual, I think, about having Coach Petrino is a lot of times a school of the size of ours, they may hire a coach who's had a lot of success. They might be 15 years removed from that success. And with Coach Petrino, you're talking about a 51-year-old coach who's in the prime of his career, who's been to the Sugar Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl in the last 6 years. So, to me, there's a lot of steps in growing our program. Maybe if you just take it 1 through 10, whatever step we were at, I think hiring somebody like Coach Petrino will enable us to skip a couple steps along the way to kind of speed that process up. And there's certainly a lot of excitement about the season ahead due to him being at the helm of the program.
You talked earlier in the week about into the gauntlet very early with Kentucky and Tennessee. As an AD, what are you looking for in those games out of the football program? What are your expectations?
I just want us to represent. Want us to play well. Want us to compete like we have in those kind of games. And if we do those things, then we'll have a chance to win. But that's what you really want. Those are tough games. Our fans are excited about it, and certainly we are too because of the opportunity it presents. But let's be honest. Kentucky and Tennessee, those are $100 million athletic department budgets there. And ours is $20 million. So that's tough to ask him to open his campaign against 2 games like that. That's hard. Ideally, you would want to have a couple wins, so to speak, where you can just show up and win the game and get used to everything. But these schedules were set years in advance, long before he came here. But he's welcomed that. He he has not one time complained about the fact that we play Kentucky and Tennessee right out of the gate. And then Army and Navy too. And Army and Navy are difficult teams to prepare for because they play unique styles. So our non-conference slate is really pretty difficult, but I think that's a good thing. I think that's where the program is now. I think we can handle a schedule like that, and certainly our players like competing in games like that, and obviously our fans like seeing us play people like that.
This is the last of 4-year series, right?
With Kentucky?
Yeah, with Kentucky.
Yes, it is.
So are there any plans to play them again? You guys talked about it?
I would like to. I mean, I've talked to Mitch Barnhart about it, and he's been great, and really, I think Mitch and their former coach, Rich Brooks, deserve a lot of credit for this series because they didn't have to do this. I mean, this 4-game series benefited us a lot more than it benefited UK, but I do think it was very good for people in the state of Kentucky. You know, it's kind of piqued interest in early non-conference games that maybe it wouldn't have otherwise, and he and I talked, and we agreed we'd just get through this 4-game series, and then probably give it a couple years in between to let things settle down a little bit with all the conference realignment and people not completely sure of how many conference games they would be playing in the future. But you know, we'll resume those discussions and hopefully have another series at some point in the future.
Will we see something back at LP Field?
I mean, I think it's possible. You know, I mean, we agreed we just finished this out and then we talk again. I think playing here 2 years ago didn't really work very well for a lot of reasons. There wasn't as much excitement in either program then as there is now, and it was a bad date. You know, we played the game on a Thursday right before Labor Day, and it was on ESPN, which was a good thing, but in doing so it was an 8:15 Central Time, 9:15 Eastern Time kick, and that wasn't very helpful, and so the crowd reflected all that. I think this year, playing it on a Saturday with the momentum that each program has, I would anticipate a much better crowd, and I think if that's the case, then there's every reason to come back here to Nashville again.
Thanks, everybody. Are there plans to play any other sports in Nashville? I mean, are you guys planning on playing basketball?
We don't have anything scheduled right now in basketball, but we have played Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Louisville here. And the 4-game series that we have with Louisville involves 2 games in Louisville at the Yum Center, 1 game in Nashville, and then 1 game at Diddle Arena. So, I mean, certainly that would be a possibility in the future to play Louisville here, but we're always looking at opportunities to play in Nashville and sports in addition to football. So I'm certainly going to try to have a basketball game here. All right. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.